Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Prabhuji Danvat Pranam, Hare Krishna dear devotees. Hare Krishna, Hare Bol to all the devotees who led the chanting this morning. We'll start with Mangalacharan, followed by prayers and then reading from Prabhupada Lilamrit. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvatam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvatam Sha Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyata Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktavranda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. Okay, let's continue with our prayers. I'm hoping somebody will sing today. Anybody wants to take up that service of singing?
I can do, Prabhuji.
Hari Bol. Yes, Mataji. 1 second. Let me also share the screen. Yeah, if you have it, I think I posted the link already. If you want to continue.
Okay. It's
Verses 21 to 34.
हम प्राप्ते संगीते काले नहीं रक्षति दुःखकरणे भगवत गीता किंचिदधीता गंगा जललव कणिका पीता सकृदपि येन मुरारी समर्चा क्रियते तस्य यमेना चर्चा पुनरपि जननं पुनरपि मरणं पुनरपि जननी जठरे शयनम् इह संसारे बहुदुस्तारे कृपया पारे पाहि मुरारे प्रत्याचरपथ विरचितकण्ठः पुण्य विवर्जितपन्थः योगी योगनियोजितचित्तो रमते बालोन्मत्तवदेव कष्टं कोऽहं कूट आयातः कामे जननी को मे तातः इति परिभावय सर्वं सरारं विश्वं त्यक्त्वा स्वप्नविचारम् त्वयि मयि चान्यत्रैको विष्णु व्यर्थं कुप्यसि मय सहिष्णु भव समचित्तः सर्वत्र त्वं पञ्चस्य चिराद्यै विष्णु त्वं शत्रौ मित्रे पुत्रे बन्धौ मा कुरु यत्नं विग्रहसन्धौ सर्वस्मिन्नपि पश्यात्मानं सर्वत्रोषि च भेदात्मानं कामं क्रोधं लोभं मोहं त्यक्त्वात्मानं भावयामोहम् आत्मज्ञानहीनमूढाः ते पच्यन्ते नरकनिगूढाः येयं गीता नाम सहस्रं येयं श्रीपतिरूपमजस्रं नेयं सजने सङ्गे चितं येयं हीना जनाय च वित्तम् सुप्तः क्रियते रामभोग पश्चादन्तः शरीरे रोग यद्यपि लोके मरणं शरणं तदपि न मुञ्चति पापचरणम् अर्थमनर्थं भावयन् नित्यं नाश्रिताः सुखलेशः सत्यं पुत्रादपि धनभाजं भीतिः सर्वत्रैस्वाविह्य रीतिः प्राणायां प्रत्याहारं नित्यानित्यविवेकविचारं जाप्यसमेता समाधिविधानं कुर्वावधानं महदवधानं गुरुचरणाम्बुज निर्भरभक्ताः संसारादचिरापवमुक्ताः सेन्द्रियमानसनियमादेवं द्रक्ष्यसि निजहृदयस्थं देवं मूढा कश्चन वैयाकरणो दुःखीकरणाद्ययनधूरिणः श्रीमच्चङ्कर भगवचिसय्य बोधित अस्चिचोत्थितकरणः भज गोविन्दं गोविन्दं भज मूढमते नामस्मरणादन्यम् उपायं नहि पश्यामो भवताराणि भज गोविन्दं गोविन्दं भज मूढमते सम्प्राप्ते सन्निहिते काले नहि रक्षति दुःखकरणे हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण
Hari Bol, Hari Krishna. Thank you so much for trying that and very nicely sung. Thank you, Shri Mataji. Okay, anybody would like to read the translations? From 21 to 30.
I can read, Prabhuji.
Yes, Meenu Mataji. Yeah.
One may take delight in yoga or bhoga. We're starting from 20 or 21, right?
21.
Yes. Let a man read but a little from the Bhagavad Gita, drink just a drop of water from the Ganga, worship Murari, Krishna, just once. He then will have no altercation with Yama, the Lord of Death. Born again, death again, birth again, to stay in the mother's womb. It is indeed hard to cross this boundless ocean of samsara. O Murari, redeem me through thy mercy. There is no shortage of clothing for a monk so long as there are rags cast off the road. Free from vice and virtue, onward he wanders. One who lives in the communion with God enjoys bliss, pure and uncontaminated like a child and as someone intoxicated. Who are you? Who am I? Where do I come from? Who is my mother? Who is my father? Ponder thus, look at everything as essenceless and give up the world as an idle dream. In me, in you, and in everything, none but the same Vishnu dwells. Your anger and impatience is meaningless. If you wish to attain the quality of Vishnu soon, have samabhava always. Do not waste your efforts to win the love of or to fight against a friend and foe, children and relatives. See yourself in everyone and give up all feelings of the duality completely. Give up lust, anger, infatuation, and greed. Ponder over your real nature. Fools are they who are blind to the self, cast into hell they suffer there endlessly. Regularly recite from the Bhagavad Gita, meditate on Vishnu in your heart, and chant his thousand glories. Take delight to be with the noble and the holy. Distribute your wealth in charity to the poor and the needy. He who yields to lust for pleasure leaves his body a prey to disease. Though death brings an end to everything, man does not give up the sinful path. Wealth is not welfare. Truly, there is no joy in it. Reflect thus at all times. A rich man fears even his own son. This is the way of wealth everywhere. Regulate the pranas, life airs within. Remain unaffected by external influences and discriminate between the real and the fleeting. Chant the holy name of God and silence the turbulent mind. Perform these with care, with extreme care. O devotee of the lotus feet of the Guru, may thou be soon free from samsara. Through disciplined senses and controlled mind, thou shalt come to experience the indwelling Lord of your heart. Thus was a silly grammarian, lost in rules, cleansed of his narrow vision, and shown the light by Shankara's apostles. Worship Govinda, worship Govinda, worship Govinda. O fool! Other than chanting the Lord's names, there is no other way to cross the life's ocean. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Mataji. Shri Govindam Stotram ki jai. Shri Padadi Shankaracharya ki jai. Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Okay, so we'll continue with Prabhupada Leelamrit. Yes, as Shankar, Adi Shankaracharya is saying here, it's a very easy process to do bhakti. And we have unlimited ways to do bhakti. Even though it is very simple, we can chant the holy names of the Lord. We can read the glories, we can sing the glories, sing the praises of the Lord. We can associate with the devotees. There's so many things that we can do. So there's unlimited opportunities to do bhakti, but we all have only limited time. So as we transition from chapter 29, unlimited opportunities to limited time, and then from there to a dream fulfilled in London. So similarly, we see from this transition in our lives also, we have unlimited opportunities. It is very simple to do bhakti, and we have unlimited opportunities every day, but we have limited time. So we have to take up the process as soon as we can in early days, not wait until old age, because then, like Shankaracharya was saying, who are you, who am I, where did I come from, where will I go? We don't know. Just like Prabhupada was giving the example yesterday of Kennedy, a president of India. He was most famous, but in one snap, he was gone, right? He was shot dead. So now where he is, nobody knows. And whether he even got a human form of life or not, we don't know. So again, there's limited time that we have. But the positive news is that if you are sincere and determined, like Srila Prabhupada's disciples were, you see, they struggled so much, almost 7-8 months in London, living from door to door, place to place, right, without any permanent place. But they just had firm faith that if their spiritual master sent them, there is a purpose behind that, and spiritual master's instruction is as good as the Lord's instructions. So with that firm faith, they persevered with patience, and now they were successful. That is the dream fulfilled. So similarly, all the dreams can be fulfilled if we are sincere and determined. Okay, so let's continue from here. So we saw yesterday Prabhupada spoke with the Beatles, and he is telling them that you are all intelligent boys. Try to understand it. This is George Harrison and John Lennon. Okay, so we'll continue from here. Anybody would like to read? If not, I'll continue. Let's see. Yeah, I think this is very strong. Okay, so Prabhupada spoke. Continue chapter 30. London, a dream fulfilled. Prabhupada spoke of the importance of music in the Vedas. The Samaveda, he said, is full of music. Followers of the Samaveda are always in music. Through musical vibration, they are approaching the Supreme. He then sang slowly 3 verses from Srimad Bhagavatam. Matirna Krishne paratah svato va mitho vipadyeta griha vratanam adanta gobhir vishatam tamishram punah punascharvita charvananam nate vidhu swarthagatim hi vishnum durashayaye bahirarthamanina andha yathandher upaniyamanas Tepi shatantriam urudam nibaddha Naishamatista vaduru kramagrim Sprashati anartha pagamo yadartha Mahiyasam padarajobhishekam Nishkinchananam navranitayavat. Because of their uncontrolled senses, persons too addicted to materialistic life make progress toward hellish conditions and repeatedly chew that which has already been chewed. Their inclinations toward Krishna are never aroused, either by the instructions of others, by their own efforts, or by a combination of both. Persons who are strongly entrapped by the consciousness of enjoying material life and who have therefore accepted as their leaders or guru a similar blind man attached to external sense objects cannot understand that the goal of life is to return home back to Godhead and engage in the service of Lord Vishnu. As blind men, guided by another blind man, miss the right path and fall into a ditch, materially attached men, led by another materially attached man, are bound by the ropes of fruitive labor, which are made of very strong cords, and they continue again and again in materialistic life, suffering the threefold miseries. Unless they smear upon their bodies the dust of the lotus feet of a Vaishnava, completely freed from material contamination, persons very much inclined toward materialistic life cannot be attached to the lotus feet of the Lord, who is glorified for his uncommon activities. Only by becoming Krishna conscious and taking shelter at the lotus feet of the Lord, in this way one can be freed from material contamination. Srimad Bhagavatam 7.5.30 to 32. Then, then Prabhupada asked his guests what philosophy they were following. Following? John asked. We don't follow anything, Yoko said. We are just living. We've done meditation, said George. Or I do meditation, or I do my meditation, mantra meditation. They began to ask questions, the same questions Prabhupada had heard so many times before. After hearing Prabhupada's explanation of Brahman, the all-pervading spiritual energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Yoko doubted whether Brahman could remain pure and not deteriorate in time. Prabhupada advised that she would have to become a serious student before she could actually understand spiritual philosophy. John and Yoko, being devoted eclectics, had difficulty accepting Prabhupada's concept of Vedic authority. John, we still have to keep sifting through, like through sand, to see who's got the best. Prabhupada, no. One thing you try to understand. Why these people, if Krishna is not the supreme authority, why they are taking Krishna's book and translating? Why don't you try to understand? George, I'm not saying Krishna isn't the supreme. I believe that. There is a misunderstanding about the translation of the Sanskrit Gita into English. And I was saying that there were many versions, but I think we thought you were trying to say your version, your translation was the authority, and that the other translations were not. But we didn't really have misunderstanding as to the identity of Krishna. Prabhupada, that's all right. If you believe Krishna is the Supreme Lord, if that is your version, then you have to see who is most addicted to Krishna. These people are 24 hours chanting Krishna, and another person who has not a single word Krishna, how can he become a devotee of Krishna? How can he, who does not utter even the name of Krishna, become a representative of Krishna? If Krishna is authority, and that is accepted, therefore those who are directly addicted to Krishna, they are authorities. After more than an hour of conversation, Prabhupada distributed some prasadam to John, George, Yoko, and the few disciples in his room. If these Shreshthas were to take up Krishna consciousness, that would be good for them and many others also. He had done his duty and provided them the opportunity. It was Krishna's message, and to accept it or not was now up to them. John said he had something to do, and he excused himself. As everyone was leaving, Yoko, walking down the stairs, turned to John and said, "Look at how simply he is living. Could you live like that?" In the evening, Prabhupada sat with the three couples, Shyam Sundar and Malati, Gurudas and Yamuna, and Mukunda and Janaki. After a year's separation, they were happily with Srila Prabhupada, and he was happy to be with them. The love they shared and their mutual satisfaction at being together was based on a unifying desire to establish Lord Chaitanya's Sankirtan movement in this important city. Now that Prabhupada had come to London, work would not slacken. It would increase under his expert guidance. Prabhupada could daily instruct the men on organizing more London preaching, and they could report to him as necessary. The women could also directly serve him, cleaning his quarters, washing and ironing his laundry, and cooking his meals. No one can afford a house like this in England anymore, Prabhupada said. England has gone down. Now these young boys own a place like this, and we are here. Prabhupada, Shamsundar spoke up. Our record sold 50,000 copies yesterday. Oh, Prabhupada's eyes widened. Very big business. Prabhupada said their money and energy should go towards opening the temple in the city. Now they were living comfortably on this aristocratic estate in the suburbs, and certainly they should try to involve these important celebrities in Krishna consciousness as far as possible. But the main business should be to open a temple in the city. Temples in the cities where the people were. Of course, if John could give this place to Krishna, and if the devotees could maintain cows and cultivate the land as in New Vrindavan, then that would be a different matter. They would have to see what Krishna desired. Prabhupada was sorry that some of his disciples were obliged to work full-time, renovating the estate in exchange for their stay. Brahmanas and Vaishnavas, he said, had the serious work of cultivating spiritual knowledge and teaching it to the others, and they deserved the respect and support of the rest of the society. The arrangement of Tittenhurst seemed more business than charity, but they should tolerate it as a temporary situation. Prabhupada talked with Shamsundar, Mukunda, and Gurudas about their struggle to get housing permits and renovate the temple downtown. Shamsundar had been right, Prabhupada said. To begin renovating the temple, Krishna would protect their investment. When Prabhupada learned they had secured a series of public lectures that would commit him to 3 months in London, he smiled. He would be glad to stay and preach in England, he said, for as long as it took to open the London Centre. Prabhupada commended his 6 London pioneers on succeeding where his sannyasi godbrothers had failed. He told them that because they had chanted Hare Krishna with faith, they had succeeded. They were not great scholars or renunciants, yet they had faith in the holy name and the order of their spiritual master. Prabhupada said that he also was not a great scholar, but that he had staunch faith, the real requirement for spiritual success. A devotee could go to many places and accomplish many things, Prabhupada said, but unless he was free from material motives, he would not be able to implant the seed of bhakti into the heart of others. Prabhupada cited Shivananda, who had gone alone to Hamburg and tried his best with faith in his spiritual master. Now Krishna was blessing Shivananda with a little success, a storefront temple, newly recruited devotees, an interested professor, and other guests coming and chanting. Even one lone preacher could accomplish many things for Krishna, provided the teacher was free from sense gratification and the desire for profit, adoration, and distinction. Srila Prabhupada rose early, about 1 a.m., and began dictating his latest book, Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Krishna begun in Los Angeles 8 months before was a summary of Srimad Bhagavatam's 10th canto starting in 1959. With the first canto, Prabhupada had been translating each successive verse, giving a Roman transliteration, Sanskrit-English synonyms, the English translation, and then his commentary. Krishna, however, was all in English, with translation and commentary blended together as transcendental stories. In his verse-by-verse translation of the Bhagavatam, Prabhupada was still working on the 3rd canto, so to reach the 10th canto could take many years. But he was uncertain how many years longer he would live, and the thought of passing away without giving the world an authorized, readable account of the 10th canto had been unbearable. Being the account of Lord Krishna's earthly pastimes, the 10th canto was the climax of Srimad Bhagavatam and the richest nectar of transcendental literature. Now Prabhupada had enough manuscript pages to print a first volume, complete with many color illustrations he had commissioned his artists to paint. To print such a book would be expensive, and Prabhupada had no money, but he depended fully on Krishna and translated quickly in the quiet of early morning. At 4:30, Prabhupada's secretary Purushottama entered, followed by Yamuna Dasi. Purushottama offered Arati to Prabhupada small while Yamuna watched, eager to learn. Prabhupada sang prayers, accompanying himself on the harmonium. During Prabhupada's Mangala Arati ceremony, the other dozen or so disciples assembled for their own Mangala Arati at the temple. As they walked the damp pathway to the temple, they felt the cold air and heard the bell and Prabhupada singing. They could see through the pre-dawn mist the light coming from Prabhupada's window on the 2nd floor, and the building looked like a lantern in the dark. The sound of the harmonium drifted mystically through the trees. Later that morning, some of the devotees brought Prabhupada several news articles about his London arrival. The Daily Sketch, with its headline, Enter His Divine Grace, Abhay Charan Bhaktivedanta Swami, carried a foot-high photo of Prabhupada playing kartals. The Sun's story, Happiness is Hare Krishna, appeared with a photo of Prabhupada and the devotees. And the Daily Mirror showed Saraswati and one of the adult devotees. The Daily Telegraph, however, carried a different kind of article. Hindu temple protests. Conversion of office premises in Bloomsbury into a Hindu temple is being investigated by the Ministry of Public Buildings and Works. The article began. The devotees' neighbors at Bury Place had apparently complained about the renovation that had been going on for the past 2 weeks. The article quoted a Camden Council member. If their planning application is not granted, it will cost them a lot of money. Prabhupada said the devotees should do everything they could to prevent delays or obstacles to their establishing the temple and installing deities of Radha and Krishna. He suggested they go daily into the city, work carefully and persistently with the officials, and secure the authorization. Meanwhile, Shyam Sundar should continue his remodeling work at Bury Place. For Prabhupada, such diplomatic and legal strategy was as spiritual as translating Krishna or singing before his deities. He was serious, heavy, and his disciples sensed this as he looked at them with full concentration, his intelligent gaze penetrating to see if they had understood his directions. This heaviness of the Guru was an essential part of their relationship with him. They were young men, inexperienced, and he was sending them on a mature assignment that required both transcendental and worldly expertise. Serving as Prabhupada's menial messengers and workers, his disciples imbibed his gravity, and they too became heavy. They too became dedicated servants of their Guru. To bungle an important order because of naivete or carelessness would be a spiritual disqualification. Prabhupada had often told them a Vaishnava is not a retired person who only sleeps and eats and chants Hare Krishna. Rather, a Vaishnava fights for Krishna, as did Arjuna and Hanuman. And as the devotee tries his best, working in full surrender, Krishna supports and protects him. Dawn arrived, and time for Prabhupada's morning walk. The cold September night shrouded the morning in heavy fog. Some of the low-lying grounds were waterlogged this time of the year, and even in the higher plots, the long grass would remain wet until mid-morning. This climate, Prabhupada admitted, is not at all suitable for me, but having heard of the beauty of the grounds, and he insisted on taking his usual morning walk. Okay, I think we'll pause here. We'll continue from here tomorrow. Okay, yeah, we can take any thoughts, reflections. Anybody would like to share anything that you liked or learned or anything that stuck with you?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, Hare Krishna, everyone. I was thinking a very important point that stood out to me was faith in holy name and complete faith in the instructions of Guru was very, very important without any material or other motives was something which was making the success of all these 6 devotees, the 3 couples. So if we can also carry out, a strong faith in holy name and a strong faith in instructions of Srila Prabhupada and our Guru Maharajas, then, the success is not far away from us. That was my takeaway point. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah. Adau Shraddha, Sadhu Sangha. It comes, even though we may not have initial faith, like we see these beetles, John and saying, just like sifting through sand, we're trying to see what is best. So, but when you take association of a pure devotee, then that seed of faith also can be established in the heart. And once we have that faith, and once we have association of a genuine bona fide sadhu, then by their association, like we say, darshan matra pavitra kare, yehi tumhara gun. Just by taking darshan and by hearing from the lotus mouth of pure devotees, Shraddha, and then Sadhu Sangha, and then of course then Bhajan Kriya starts. And once Bhajan Kriya starts, then Anartha Nivritti, and then nishtha, ruchi, asakti, bhava and prema. Everything happens gradually, step by step. Yeah, we just need to have faith and determination to follow the instructions with patience and enthusiasm. Yeah, so yeah, we don't have to look 1,000 years or million years ago. We can see 10 years, 20 years, 40 years just ahead of us, all these wonderful disciples, what they did, how they did, just with undeterring faith and following the orders of Srila Prabhupada, and what they have accomplished in just such a short time. So again, we are not imitating, but we take inspiration and we follow in their footsteps. So just like the struggle, yeah, it's not going to be easy, rosy path. Like Prabhupada is taking his morning walk, he's also saying, this is not an easy path, this is not good for me, but still, for the pleasure of his disciples and for all the wonderful morning walk lectures, morning walk discussions that he did today, we can read those and we can benefit. And he inspired so many of his disciples and even non-disciples, non-devotees who were new. They joined in the morning walks, right? So they continue to walk and they continue to learn every day. And with those instructions, they transform their lives. So similarly, there's so much that we can also learn. So every single morning when we wake up for Mangalarti, when we do our japa, that is our inspiration that we are taking from these sincere disciples of Prabhupada, sincere disciples of all acharyas who have been our predecessors before, because just like that they have perfected their lives. So similarly, we also do that, then with Krishna's mercy will follow. Of course, we should not get proud and we should not feel that, I'm doing this, I'm doing this. No, it is what we are doing, the way we are chanting. What we are chanting is also by the mercy of Guru, mercy of Krishna. Without the mercy, we cannot do anything. So that should be always the mood, and that should always be our meditation. That whatever we are doing, whatever bhakti we are able to perform, is because of the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, because of mercy of Guru Maharaj, and because of mercy of Shri Shri Radha Krishna, without which not even a leaf, ek patta bhi nahi hilta. So what to speak of what we can do. Yes, thank you for sharing that. Okay, anybody else would like to share anything?
Yes, Prabhu. This line really stood out to me. Like, as a devotee tries his best working in full surrender, Krishna supports and protects him. Sometimes people think that the devotion life or the devotional life is just for people who are retired, and then they don't have anything to do. So let's just chant and, do all that. It's not for the, as we have heard in many lectures, it's not for the old age, but it's Bhagavad Gita was spoken to Arjuna, who was like a householder. And then this reminds me of an incident which happened, recently with our family. So we went on the trip to Virginia Beach, and my father-in-law, he accidentally drops his phone into the ocean, and then he tries to grab it, but it just went away, and we were like, oh, now it's there is no possibility that it can come back, right? Like, just fell in the ocean. So we lost hope. We were like, okay, we'll just get a new one, and then surprisingly, it's such a miracle. 2 days later, okay, after that incident happened, 2.5 days later, somebody calls us. He says that I have your phone, and it's working. It's in working condition. Nothing has happened. Everything is, it's restored, and we were really surprised, and we thought like maybe, that person is scamming us and something is happening. It can't be that true. So yesterday, we just asked him to ship the phone to us, and we found out that he just lives 1 hour away from us. And we were in totally shock. How is this possible, And Renal, my husband, yesterday went there and just picked up the phone, and everything was all right. So we were just in shock until we actually picked up the phone. We were still like, suspicious that, this is not our phone or something has happened. It happened to it. But it just I mean, I couldn't believe, you know, how Krishna works. You know, it's such a miracle. So we were like, wow, this is Krishna. Nobody can do this.
Mm. Good. Wonderful. Thank you for sharing. Yes. Yeah, ocean. It is like the Bhavasagar, you know, if we treat this as Bhavasagar, and this is just an ocean of misery. But for devotees who have surrendered, that ocean is also Krishna. He reciprocates. So with his loving waves, we see he's reciprocating. He's giving you the gift back. So yeah, wonderful. Thank you for
Yeah,
sharing that story.
Mataji. We have heard Mare Krishna, Rakhe Krishna, Mare Ke, but we have never heard of a phone saved by Krishna.
I know. We were like, really? And when we lost the phone, we were like, okay, you know, I was just thinking in my mind that, you know, Krishna is teaching us something through this. If not right now, we won't understand, but later we will, you know. I just told him and I was like, let it go. But then this happened and wow, it's just, yeah.
So that person who lives 1 hour away also probably happened to come to Virginia Beach at the same time as you.
Yeah, and then he lived just 1 hour away. He could be from probably Los Angeles, you know, who knows? But he was just living 1 hour away. So, yeah.
So now you should tell your father-in-law to use the phone in the service of
Service
Lord.
of Krishna, that's what I told him.
Tell him to put some
That's what
nice
I told him.
Prabhupada Kirtan, you know, chant along with Srila Prabhupada. Here
Exactly.
to sing Hari Katha. Yes.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much for sharing and inspiring all of us how Krishna reciprocates with his devotees. Okay. Any other thoughts? All right. If not, we'll take other thoughts tomorrow. Let's conclude with Vaishnava Pranam prayers. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Anantakoti Vaishnavrinda ki jai, Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Prabhupada Leelamrit ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Dandavad Pranam.